Welcome everybody to this exclusive webinar hosted by Indium Software. Indium is a fast-growing digital engineering company focused on building modern solutions across applications, data, gaming, and for its clients. This webinar will enlighten you on how to leverage the Mendix platform effectively. There's an exclusive 15 minutes Q&A session at the end of the webinar where you can post your questions and our experts will address them. Let's get started with the session. Without any further ado, I now turn the floor over to Mani and Dana. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, good evening to all of you who have taken the time to join this webinar. I'm sure this is going to be a really interesting webinar for you in terms of using Mendix effectively. The topic we are going to cover is building enterprise applications with Mendix to enhance customer experience. So the speakers today are myself, which is Manikandan Ramalingam. I'm called Mani, and I have Dhanashekhar with me. I'm the delivery lead and practice lead for application engineering and low-code practice within Indium Software. Dana, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Dhanashekhar Mohan. I'm a solution architect with Indium Software, and I'm working as a software engineer and an application engineering and low-code practice development. Okay, I closely work with Mani's and the other low-code practice leaders. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Dana. So today's takeaways, right? We'll start with Mendix COE and adoption as the starting point, because that plays a very important role in making sure we are successful. The second thing we move into is IT control and governance, followed by some nuances in the user experience world of Mendix. Finally, how do we extend the capabilities of Mendix beyond the normal use cases that we think Mendix can help us? Followed by solution design, because software engineering is basically solution driven. So solution design for Mendix applications with Mendix is something which we will conclude with. I'm sure this is going to be a very productive and effective half an hour, because we are trying to share our experiences of many years working with open source software, and now for the past few years with multiple low-code platforms, especially Mendix. Okay, so I talked about Mendix COE and Mendix adoption, right? The first and foremost thing whenever you venture into a low-code platform is to make sure your business users are enabled so that they can develop their own software, right? Mendix platform enables that big time, right? But it's not a straightforward journey. You need to have a plan in place in order to make your business users or the business experts deal with building good quality software for their own business purposes or repeatable processes, right? So first thing is you have to enable your citizen developer, which are the business users in this case, right? Software engineering training is the first step. It's not a 4-year degree program or a 3-year degree program we are trying to talk here. It's a 1-month introduction to software engineering, the basic principles of software, relational databases, right? RAM, performance considerations, storage, how to write software which is performant, multiple users, multi-users. All those concepts need to be taught to the business users so that they can understand how software works. So the first 1 month, it can take up to 1 month. It can be compressed based on your need, but 1 month is a right amount of time for them to digest and get themselves ready for the next step, which is the actual Mendix training. So Mendix Academy provides a lot of material, video as well, which is very good in teaching Mendix, right? So for your business users, that would be the right source for them to get trained. You can have an instructor-led training program also to make sure this is done in the right way. So that's the step 2. Then once that's done, we need to get into the simulated projects, right? We have to define workable use cases, simple use cases. So you will have experts who are part of the Mendix COE, who will work with your business developers who are trying to become citizen developers and do simulated projects. In the process, they will learn a lot of nuances about how to use Mendix, what to do, what not to do, all that, right? Once that's done, that's going to be another month of training, precise. Then moving on to the pair programming, which is the most critical aspect of graduating these citizen developers. In the pair programming, we need to take real-time use cases. some of the repeatable processes the business users would like to automate and put it in the Mendix platform. We have to define that. The Mendix experts from the COE team should work with them in pairs and develop that use case and make it work along with the business developers. Once that is done, it could be a 2 months project, you can say. If once that is done, the business developers are kind of 80% plus enabled, right? Then we can call them as graduates in the citizen developer program that we have designed. So every organization will have their own method to do this, but these steps are important. We cannot ignore any of these steps. These steps are important. The durations can be 1 to 2 months in certain cases. In cases, it can be compressed. But you have to plan at least 6 months in your mind to run this program in a clear way, right? Finally, you will get good quality citizen developers enabled to develop their own use cases in Mendix. That's not enough. Once the graduation is done, when they do real-time projects, the COE plays a very important role in guiding these developers in doing a lot of things which are important. So that is Mendix COE. So Dana, who is in fact leading our Mendix COE within Indium, is going to talk about the functions of Mendix COE. Dana, over to you.
Thanks, Mani. So let's talk about Mendix Center of Excellence, or a COE, right? It's basically a guide to building and using applications in the best way possible, especially Mendix application, right? So the COE actually established a rule book and a guidance and a training support kind of thing, right? So where actually it provides the best practices to develop applications. And also it actually gives the quality checker kind of thing. So where the quality standard is defined and the well-designed application is being written. Okay, so imagine there is a clock, right? So it keeps us on time and ensures we meet our goals regularly while keeping things simple. So that is what actually the governance and cadence has to be done by a COE team, and it has to define a standard framework. If here in this standard framework might be a toolkit that gives us company specific standards for design, securities, and even coding, right? Which enables consistency and organized kind of thing. Okay, and then there is an architecture and design standards. We'll talk about what is the solution design and architecture kind of thing impacts the application development using Mendix. And also there is an immediate response team or a support team has to be available whenever there is an issue is happening, right? This rescue team will come and resolve the problem, right? Making it quicker and then reducing any disruption that is happening with the development kind of thing. And COE also actually is a continuous process, and we at Indium actually follow as a continuous refactoring and validation process. So with that said, the Mendix COE should always strive for quality, consistency, and improvement. And it is not just a framework; it's kind of like a digital transformation mindset that simplifies the application development and helps us deliver faster and value more effectively. And yes, as Mani mentioned, we help organizations set up and run their own COE, empowering them reach their full potential with Mendix platform, which actually
Thanks.
gives the ROI for the customers.
Right. Thanks, Dana. We talked about citizen developer enablement, right? And that is done by the COE, right? So COE plays kind of a role of a heart in this function, right? That controls everything, right? Now coming on to the return on investment. So 6 months of training is an investment beyond the investment done in the platform itself. 6 months of training your business users is an investment. Then building your own or setting up your COE is another investment. So now talking about the return on investment on these is very important. So demand prioritization on the IT organization. So if you look at a lot of business requests comes and queued up with the IT organization for automation, for creating a new software to solve a particular problem or automate a process. All these things comes. But what happens is if you enable citizen development, some of these requests can be absorbed by the citizen development team. So the investment you have made in building citizen developers will pay it off, right? So they will take care of automating their own processes because they are the process experts. If you enable them in the Mendix platform with minimal guidance, they'll be able to build good quality automation softwares for their own business processes, thus bringing efficiency. And they will do it passionately. We have seen it, right? And by this way, we are adding capacity to the IT organization. So some of the requests are taken care of by the business users themselves, who are actually creating those requests, right? Now, this creates a lot of bandwidth or considerable amount of bandwidth for the IT organization to focus on mission critical things, right? Some of the consumer facing applications that they have to maintain, they have to support. So it definitely adds a lot of bandwidth to the IT organization, right? The third important thing is you have invested in a platform, Mendix as a platform. So that is one platform. It's not multiple places. It's one platform. So it's an ecosystem in itself. So you have a predictable low-code ecosystem with just one platform. So that's another advantage. So from the IT organization's ownership perspective, things are predictable. You can easily maintain the platform if it's one platform, right? If you look at open source, there'll be multiple frameworks. Every framework gets upgraded, right? There are a lot of security vulnerabilities getting announced in the market, and you have to go and upgrade them. See the impact across all the applications using that framework. You know how this works, right? But if you look at this low-code platform, it's one platform. Mendix themselves will provide updates on security vulnerabilities, how to upgrade. It's a gated thing, right? And management and governance, it's one platform again, one place you can do the management. You will have dashboards to look at what is going on there, right? And of course, when you build more and more applications over a period of time, it creates a lot of reusable assets, from UI controls to modules that can be reused across the organization. It will end up creating more and more reusability. Thus, efficiency also is building up. So effectively, the return on investment, if you do the COE and citizen developer enablement, is phenomenal. We have seen it happening for multiple customers of ours. Then I move on to the next one. So some of the, we have seen Mendix being used to automate things. Automation is a common term we use, but Mendix is beyond that. So Dana will quickly talk about few of the use cases which are not normal, which are beyond a low-code platform's abilities that we perceive. Dana, over to you.
Yeah, Mani. So let's explore some of the use cases. I'm not going to walk through all the use cases that we have built in. Okay, so these are some of the use cases where we have put Mendix into action, right? As Mani mentioned, Mendix or any low-code platform has a limitations kind of thing, right? But we actually understand the full potential of Mendix and then build some application that is actually enterprise grade. So one of the use cases actually for our infrastructure management customer, where they wanted to maintain an asset management system for a SaaS kind of application where they have multiple clients, but they want to create one app for a platform. And we created a multi-tenancy based SaaS application. And we have built this application where multiple clients can securely access their own version of app. And also considering the power of today's generative AI and large language model, and machine learning capabilities, we have harnessed the power of using Mendix 10 and trying out AML solution without needing to write a tons of code or understand right how the models are actually being built. And thanks to Mendix machine learning toolkit, making AI is not just a buzzword in the low code development, but an accessible tool for us. Especially for one of our BFSI client, we have built a real-time trade systems with Mendix. It's basically connecting with multiple systems like either it is a SignalR or Kafka. We integrate a real-time communication and data processing capabilities into Mendix, enabling real-time trade updates and makes it for crossing opportunities within the organization. So this example shows how we can use Mendix to create unique, effective solutions from SaaS application to AML integration to real-time trade management. Mendix uses the tools to innovate and deliver exceptional value.
Thanks, Dana. So we talked about Mendix COE. Again, we started with Mendix COE, how to create an army of citizen developers, right? The step-by-step way to create that. Mendix can do many more things. Right? Now, the next important responsibility to look at is IT governance and control, right? The IT organization owns this low-code platform in most of the organizations, right? I mean, it ends up being in the hands of IT, right? So it's very, very important that there is governance and control from the IT organization side in these platforms. So we'll see some more details about the IT governance and control, how it is very, very important in the upcoming slides. right? So the first point is starter application, right? Dana talked about various responsibilities of the COE. One of the very important responsibility of the COE is to build a starter application. When I say starter application, the business users need not worry about authentication, authorization, and cross-cutting features, right? The logging mechanisms and all those things. The intricacies are basically non-functional in nature, right? The business users should be focusing only on what they want to build using low code. Right? So the COE builds all the bells and whistles required in a starter application, including the look and feel of that application, which is unique for every organization itself, right? The color schema, the font sizes, right? Uh, the button colors, all those things can be defined in the starter application itself. So any business user developing or doing an automation, the application will look consistent, right? That's one of the important things. Second, reusable components and widgets. It's again connected to building a starter application, right? The controls which are typically used within the organization for charting or some special type of trees or lists, this may not be commonly available within Mendix, right? Some custom code needed to be written. So COE plays an important role to create these reusable controls. Then it becomes very easy for the business users to drag and drop and use those controls. Right? Then the third thing is training handbook. See, it's not a one-time job to onboard business users as citizen developers. This is a continuous process. More and more business users will come and become citizen developers. A training handbook, onboarding mechanism that needs to happen. How you onboard people into this ecosystem, right? That would be maintained and continuously updated by the COE. Right? Then the most important part, which is directly going to impact the operational costs, right? The cloud costs. So enabling availability of cloud environment. This is a very, very important role wherein it impacts the cost. So the COE plays a crucial role. The IT team, the COE is actually coming from the IT team, right? That's what it means. So the COE plays an important role in making sure that the cloud environments are available with the right set of configurations so that the cost is effectively used. And finally, this is something every IT organization's nightmare, right? Technical debts, right? This measures how behind we are, right? How legacy we are. So the best practices that Dana was talking about when talking about the COE responsibilities, along with the activities which are related to solution design, architecture reviews, all those things are very, very important, right? This will avoid or reduce technical debts. Once accumulated, it's rework. So that's the next important thing. COE plays a very, very crucial role on a day-to-day basis to reduce or avoid the technical debts that the business or the citizen developers may accumulate, right? With that, we'll move on to the next section, which is about code quality, the quality of the applications that our citizen developers build, right? It's not software developers, they are citizen developers. We have to monitor the quality because IT organization becomes accountable, responsible for the platform. So it's absolutely important to continuously monitor the quality of the applications built in that platform. So Dana will take you through this topic.
Yeah, so as mentioned, right, so Mendix enables a lot of tools actually to make our life easier. It's also applicable for the COE team, right? So whether the previous statement, right, so to reduce technical debts, right, whether it is a low-code platform or any software development, technical debts always actually is inevitable. So how to actually reduce that cycle or mitigate the technical debts, right? So code gate and review actually plays a major role in that, right? So one of the tools actually that Mendix actually provides is a test suite. Actually creates an automated testing into your ALM, right, application lifecycle management kind of thing. And also it provides the quality and security management where it actually about an instant insight for the qualities and application model they build, including the ratings and benchmarks of thousands of the projects, right? The best practices bot, previously called Mendix MX Assist Performance Bot, is an intelligent and virtual code developer bot that assists you in improving the performance of your app. It also does inspecting your project model against the Mendix development best practices in real time while you're building your applications, right? These are the tools that Mendix actually provides. There is one thing called architecture validations. Whenever there is a software that is being built, we should always go with the solution design, and then the developer has to follow the solution, and then practice best practices that is provided by the platform. Once that has been developed, an architecture has to come and validate whether the right solution has been built or implemented the right way. So this is the utmost steps that we put into like ALM, okay, which actually reduce or avoid the technical debts that accumulate over the time. Moving on from that, okay, so we have security and control. So we already talked about who have to access the application, who is the user base and everything. So there is a in the COE there is a way of defining standard framework, right? So Mani talked about starter application where you have to define the standard authentication and authorization process, whether it is a OAuth or SAML kind of thing, and then security practices. So it is no, it is not an afterthought. Okay, so security best practices are followed diligently, from the actively monitoring security vulnerabilities to promptly addressing them. Furthermore, Mani actually mentioned Mendix actually provides security vulnerability fixes periodically, and we have to make sure upgradation as a practice to actually resolve, mitigate these security vulnerabilities. And with Mendix 10 launch, okay, Mendix actually provided easy governance. It's called self-servicing governance, where it provides a dashboard for your all the application that has been developed within the organization, portfolio management under your organization. If you have multiple groups who is actually working on the application for the Mendix development, you can actually segregate them, understand them, whether they are in the ideation phase or the training phase, whether it has been developed, how many applications are being developed. And then there is a risk manager. If one of the application actually uses an outdated or a security vulnerable component within the application, Mendix actually will let you know and which component has been outdated, what are the steps that you need to follow as a security advisory kind of thing. Okay, and also as a COE and an IT governance, Mani mentioned we have to enable the cloud environment for the deployment, right? And it also we have to monitor as in security and control, we have to monitor how much cloud credits that application is being used. So with that said, Mendix puts a high emphasis on security and control, ensuring robust access control, adherence to security practices, offering self-servicing governance, and flexibility in identity management. So with this features, Mendix aims to provide a secure control environment for application development, and it is responsible for a COE team to implement the same. Okay, so moving on to the next step, right? So user experience. So we talked about enabling the citizen developers and then putting a control over what they are developing kind of thing, and then reviewing it. But the end results will be under the user, right? So we have to ensure the user experience are built in the right way. So Mendix actually provides responsive and adaptive designs where responsive actually adjusts to the form factor, whether it's a mobile or a in a tab or a desktop. If it is open on a browser, it will adjust automatically based on the size. But adaptive design is actually for particular user set. So the user is actually always carrying a mobile, and you have to develop the application within the mobile form factor so that the user experience is actually enriched for that. Mendix out of the box controls and building blocks actually enables to build this with visual modeling and everything. And if they go one step beyond, it's called multi-experience development. It actually not only connects with a mobile tablet or some other things, it also enables voice conversational devices also. Okay, and carrying out the universal design system enables consistency over the period and organized kind of within the organization. Mendix design system actually is called Atlas. It follows throughout the Mendix development process, and we actually highly recommend to create organization specific themes, design systems, so that it will be consistent throughout the user experience, whatever application that being developed within the organization. Last but not least from my side, right? So one is the extend the capabilities of Mendix. So while Mendix comes with the tons of features and controls, there might be a scenario like I showed in the use case where you need more specific functionalities, whether it is an integration with the third-party systems or the existing database, or you are migrating from an existing database to here, and you have already a CI/CD pipeline set up in your organization, you want to connect. Mendix actually understand this, and sometimes you need to go beyond out of the box functionality, right? So that's why Mendix actually enables the extensibility as an option. Whether you can write business logic in Java and JavaScript, or you can develop your own custom widget which will be used available for the UI controls, and then webhooks, Mendix pipeline for your CI/CD pipeline connect, and Mendix Connect to actually connect and manage external database integrations and everything. So this extensibility and integration capabilities mean that no matter the scenario, you can tailor the platform to fit your exact requirement, whether it is writing custom logic, integrating with existing database, or enabling seamless CI/CD pipeline. So Mendix is designed to accommodate and facilitate your unique needs. Onto the solution design part, I'll have Mani to explain why solution design is important in Mendix development.
Thank you, Dana. Before we get into the solution design, I will give a glimpse of where we started. Right, we started with the Mendix COE, which is an organization within your IT organization. The Mendix COE helps you enable citizen development. Right, it performs the IT governance and control functions. Right, and it also makes sure that Mendix is effectively used. The low-code platform is effectively used for your organization's needs, right? And we talked about return on investment in particular, about why we need to have a COE and how it pays by itself, right? So now coming on to solution design. So software engineering is absolutely important to build good quality softwares. That's fundamental, right? Now with Mendix, we are building softwares again, right? So it's very, very important the solution design exercise is performed before software is developed. Again, this is one more very, very important role played by the Mendix COE. Now we are enabling citizen developers. The citizen developers are not architects. Citizen developers are enabled business experts who can build things faster, right? So it's very important there is appropriate intervention from the COE team to make sure the applications are built in a robust fashion. So that the abilities are coming out, maintainability, scalability, right? Performance, all those things are very, very important for any application that we build. So COE, again, the Mendix COE plays a very important role, right? Some of the points, important points in solution design is application security standards, right? Mendix itself comes with a lot of security inbuilt, right? Now, what else do we need? So that needs to be ironed out. We need to look at the requirement for that application and then decide on what needs to be done, right? Then clearly define non-functional requirements. We call it NFR. Which devices this application should work, right? Which browsers it should support. How many concurrent users are going to be there? The volume of data that is going to. These are all not functional requirements, but these are all non-functional requirements. We have to define that to make sure the solution that we are building is going to meet all these non-functional requirements, right? Then the starter application we talked about, which is organization specific UI templates, which templates to use, right? Then there should be a branching and merging strategy if multiple people are going to work on it parallelly, right? Then the design should be done keeping in mind the volume of data being handled, right? Where to keep the data. It's a typical software engineering process that we follow, right? Then one more important thing which comes into mind is, right, can I build this use case in low code in Mendix? This is a typical question every customer has asked us, right? So use case fitment assessment is very important. According to us, right, more than 95% of the use cases, because Mendix is not just a low code platform. If you want to custom build something, if you want to extend it beyond what it readily offers, it's possible. You can write Java code, you can write JavaScript code, you can custom script it, so you can extend Mendix beyond its normal low code perception. So use case fitment is another thing which important exercise before taking a decision if I should build this application in Mendix platform, right? Then domain model design. This is basically your normalization, denormalization, how to structure the data, right? That's very important. And you cannot expect your citizen developers to do it upfront, right? You need to have Mendix COE guide them how to do it, right? Even if they come up with a model, it's very important a validation is done about how they have done it, right? Then modular and component design, how the inheritance has to happen within the application, right? The layouts, the controls and everything. Then performance engineering. So always performance is an engineering work. It's not a work which is after development is done. So you build performance while you build software. So that is something which comes through the solution design work. And of course, if your application is going to talk with SAP, Salesforce, or any of your backend third-party applications, it's important the integration interfaces are properly defined upfront, and APIs are written in that fashion. That's also important. Of course, COE experts, the Mendix experts who are part of the COE, should be guiding the citizen development team in all these aspects. So solution design, another responsibility within the IT governance and control, part of the COE, which is very, very critical. We can move to the next topic, which is typical challenges. Now we have started with Mendix adoption as a topic. In that, we talked about COE, then we enabled the citizen developers using the COE. Then the COE, which is part of the IT organization, does the IT governance and control. We talked about the various roles the COE plays, right? Now, we are running a COE. We run COE for many of our customers. We enable our customers with the COE, right, for their citizen development happening. Typical challenges that we faced in real time is something which we have plotted here. Some of them, right? The most prominent ones is what we have discussed here. Horizontal scalability. We build an application now, the number of users are 10 users, it works fine. When it goes to 100 users, it's becoming slow, right? This is a challenge some customers have come up with. So we have helped them resolve it with our COE approach. Security implementation. There is a lot of over engineering happening in implementing security. Mendix comes a lot of inbuilt security features. Now, without understanding it completely, some of them have built or over engineered the security part. So we have helped them do that. Performance issues. It's again related to the horizontal scalability part. Some of the screens are very, very slow. It takes 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So if you look at the data model design would have played a role in that, right? The impact is really big to fix that, because once the application is in production, if you change the data model, the existing data needs to be transformed into the new model. So there is complexity involved. So solution design plays an important role. So performance issues is a common thing which our customers have approached us to help, and we have helped them successfully in making sure their applications are scaling, performing well, right? Then customization, custom control usage, and some challenges in customization. Some of the use cases, the controls are not stock controls. They wanted us to build custom controls. So we have used React.js to build custom controls and enable them to make their user experience better. And technical debts, it's a live thing. The more you code, the more technical debt will come. This is the IT parlance, right? So technical debt, it's again a function of Mendix COE to make sure it's reduced, it's in control, and it's continuously addressed, right? You cannot have a situation wherein there is zero technical debt, but you can get into a situation wherein whatever debt I'm creating, I have a plan to address it. I can reduce it over a period of time, right? Then data migration is it's again related to legacy applications, right? Are rebuilt or rewritten in Mendix. What happens is the data model in the legacy application is your normal normalization RDBMS method. Now, when it comes to implementation in Mendix, it has slight change. The way it implements the data persistence is slightly different. So you have to migrate when you will build the application. Finally, you have to migrate the data from the source application to the new application which you have built. So we have helped our customers migrate that using scripts, right? That means a lot of understanding beneath or how Mendix works, right? Then on to integration, SAP, Salesforce, and any third-party systems. In some cases, we have built custom connectors to integrate Mendix-built applications with third-party applications, right? And finally, one of the important challenges we have to kind of constantly look out for is upgradation, right? The platform upgrades. Mendix right now has released 10 for general availability. Now, the current stable version is 9.x. I know we have customers who are still in 8, right? The travel path from 8 to 10 is a two-step process. You have to get into somewhere in 9, then you can move to 10, right? But that takes a lot of effort, carefully calculated effort. The platform is one, but you will have multiple applications which will get impacted during the upgrade. So you need to have a clearly thought out plan of implementation and release planning when you do these kind of upgrades. So we have helped customers do such migrations before. So some of the typical challenges I thought we will share with you. You can anticipate such challenges when you set up your COE, when you set up your Mendix platform organization. Look out for all these things. COE plays a very key role. And from an IT organization perspective, uh, governance and control with all these interventions are absolutely important to make sure your low code journey with Mendix is successful and cost effective, and you get the returns on your investments. With that, I would conclude this webinar. And these are all real things that we have experienced. We thought we will share it with you. Thanks to Dana for taking his time to bring in the technical aspects of a lot of things which we discussed. Though we didn't dig deep into the technical aspects of it, we thought some amount of information on the technical side is also like important thing in this discussion. We will conclude it here, and we will open the floor for any questions for the next 15 minutes. Be assured that we will be getting back to some of the questions if we are not having enough time to answer it during this session itself. We will, our support team will share the email coordinates to reach out to us for any offline communications or clarifications. I have a question here. The first question, elaborate on the role of Mendix Center of Excellence or IT governance within an organization and its potential impact on digital transformation. Okay. So as we discussed in detail about the COE, we started with COE, we started talking about how COE enables the entire IT organizations layer of governance, layer of educating people to make the Mendix platform effectively used, right? So the Mendix COE, you can consider that as a hub of expertise, having experts who guide the organization with best practices. It promotes the standards. Your quality is measured by them. They maintain the quality. And they manage the resources involved. The platform itself, they maintain, they upgrade it, right? So this is the crux of what the COE does, right? I think this answers your question. We discussed in much detail in the webinar about this. I think you should be able to play it back and listen it again if you want to. But it's the central hub. That's how I would answer this question. Yeah, I see another question here. Could you give some tips for businesses new to the Mendix platform on how to leverage it most effectively? Okay, so it's always better you start small, right? When you first get into the platform, you start small, take baby steps, manageable projects. And we talked about a similar pattern when we talked about educating the business people to become a citizen developer, right? So that's the approach you have to follow. And of course, once the is set up, it would be really great. So that's I think it would be really great. That's how you should start if you are to the Mendix platform. I'm sure if the fundamentals are done right, you will see success coming your way gradually. Okay. And there is one more question. Can you discuss some key metrics to evaluate the success of Mendix implementation within an organization? Yes, this is a very good question. Unless you measure, you wouldn't know whether you are successful or not, or you are in the right path or not, right? So one critical measure, I think we alluded to this topic during the webinar itself. One measure is how much of IT requests you are getting before the Mendix arrived to the IT team in terms of software development or automations, and how much you are getting after the citizen developer started developing things. This is a critical measure. If you get that measure, you would see the number of automation requests coming from our small application, internal application development requests coming from the citizen. The business uses bandwidth in your IT team to focus on other critical stuff. So that's one important measure. Of course, beyond that, if you look at success in terms of implementing Mendix, and the metrics are code quality, the number of defects you leak, these are all the typical things which IT anyway follows. If you measure that, I think that's sufficient to tell you whether you are on the right path or not. And the next question is,
Yes, I think I will take it
Yeah,
actually. So,
yeah, go ahead, Dana. Please.
yeah. So what kind of complexities can Mendix can handle, right? So can it be used to build some enterprise level application with business rules and workflows? Yeah. So to answer this, right, we actually showcased our Mendix in action use cases, right? So absolutely, Mendix is designed to handle the complex business logic and workflows, including integrating with existing systems and databases. Right? And it also well suited for enterprise level applications. Also, it is actually has a robust platform and has a scalability to it. So that actually answers, right? Okay. I also see one of the question that is technical. That also I'll take it. So with the rise of AI, right? How does Mendix incorporate AI capabilities in its platform, and how can it benefit our enterprise applications? Okay. So Mendix actually provides three type of AI integrations with the platform. So one is the AI assisted development environment, where the developers of the Mendix platform can use this to use suggestions, improve their development speed, and then some automations within the development process itself they can do. They call it as AI assisted development. The second one is Mendix is actually open to any integrations. Either it is AI integrations, AI service integrations with the chatbot or Chat GPT-4 or Azure Open AI service like that. And with the release of Mendix 10 and the general availability of the AI and ML toolkit, Mendix now supports in-house AI services to add intelligence to your applications. Okay, so you just have to import your data model or the ML model and then enhance the application with the AML. Okay, I think that answers the questions. Okay, moving on.
Clarifications you need in future as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you, Mani and Dana, for this wonderful session. Thank you all for being a part of today's webinar. We sincerely appreciate your presence and engagement throughout the session. Due to time constraints, we were able to address only a few questions. However, don't worry, if you have any questions that wasn't answered today, we'll make sure to respond to all the remaining questions in the next couple of days. If you have any specific or urgent inquiries or require any further assistance, please reach out to us. We will send out an email with all the contact details shortly. For any special need or to schedule a free 1-hour consultation, we are here to help. Once again, thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the webinar informative and valuable. Have a nice day.